What's up, everybody? Azariel here. First off, I would like to say Happy Easter, Easter egg hunting, candy. It is Sunday, April 8th, and you are watching me. Okay, enough of that. Welcome to another episode of the Wrap-Up Review Series, where we wrap up games that I have played over the past week, or games I have recently finished, for a form of better words. This is episode 6, I believe, and in this episode we're going to be reviewing a game that I got finished with just a couple days ago, called Nobunaga plus, it's Pokemon+Nobunaga's Ambition, or in the native title, Pokemon+Nobunaga no Yabou, for the Nintendo DS. It is a Japanese import that when it was announced, it did cause an uproar of sorts. People didn't know what to expect from it. These are two games, or two series, that doesn't have anything in common with each other. And yeah, so let's review the game. So, mind you, again, this game is a Japanese import, and the language, of course, is in Japanese. So it's a lot of things that I didn't understand. So as I'm giving you this review, it will be kind of wishy-washy. So because of that, I won't be rating the game, but I will let you know what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and if you're into Japanese imports, should you pick this up, or things like that. So let's go on with the review. I do have some notes written down because I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So if you see me looking down, and you've seen me do this in past videos, or if you're a new viewer, that's what I'm doing. I'm just making sure that I don't miss anything. So that being said, let's get this review on the road. The game takes place in the feudal Japan era, where these characters have a special bond with their Pokemon partners, and you're playing the role of this young castle lord who aspires to be the best castle lord and ally, all the other castles. So you're going on this journey to defeat the teams at these castles and just take over. Now, I'm not sure if that's the actual start of the game, if that's what they were saying, but understand, it's in Japanese language. It's a language barrier there, so I don't really get. So I'm just, just telling you from my experience, and just from me just feeling around the game and things like that. But once I get to the end, I will have some special news for you guys. So let's continue. It's a total of 17 castles in the game, each representing one Pokemon type. For example, you have the Ghost Castle, you have the Electric Castle, the Ice Castle, the Water Castle, the Rock Fighting. Every Pokemon type has a castle that is representing that particular type. And each castle also has a special design stage that is designed to give that type of Pokemon the advantage. So you're going to have to, think more strategically than in, a traditional Pokemon game. You will have to worry about the things that you would have to worry about in a, regular Pokemon game, such as the type weaknesses and strengths, but how can I put it, in a somewhat unfamiliar way. Normally in a Pokemon game, each Pokemon would have up to 4 moves. In this game, not only does each Pokemon only have one attack, but they also have attack patterns. And it's a wide variety of attack patterns, ranging from close range to long range to these checkered patterns to square patterns, etc. That being said, some attacks don't do any damage at all. but instead cause some status effects such as sleep, stun, poison, things of that nature. So it's a wide variety in attacks, the attack patterns, and what the attacks do. Because some of them actually cause like some knockback, and you can knock them like into some traps or anything like that. Now, these attacks and attack patterns change as the Pokemon evolve. Also, the attacks range from 1 to 5 stars, and this determines how strong the attack is. Now, there's no way to manually increase the amount of star on the attack itself. It just goes naturally as the Pokemon evolves. So, with all that in mind, when you are, like just preparing to go to face a team at one of the enemy's castles, there are features in this game that allow you to see what type of Pokemon your opponent has and what type of attacks those Pokemon are going to be using. And the attack patterns, and this is helpful because some Pokemon are, they are double type, meaning that they have 2 types, like, which is opposed to just them having 1. So it isn't as obvious, what type of attack they will use as a single type Pokemon. Like a fire type, a fire type will use a fire type attack, or an ice type will use an ice type of attack. But, there are some like dark and ground types, or some psychic and fighting types, so it wouldn't be as obvious what type of attack they would use, with them being a double type. You will have, so it's wise to check on and see what your opponent, like just what you're going up against and what your opponent is using. And why am I zooming out of the camera? Let's get focused. Man. Leaning a little bit too much. What the hell? Okay. We're straight. Okay, moving on. And so, like, don't just charge into battle blindly. Make sure that you check and make sure what you're going up against, so that you can just adjust your team, and that way, like, you can have somewhat knowledge of what you're going up against. Now, these battles take place on these small maps, and even though these maps are small, they are interactive, and some fun stuff happens on these maps, actually. Like, you or your opponent might fall into like this hidden trap hole, and you can't step out on a like hidden switch, where you can step on like a hidden switch, and you might fall like into this like barricade, and it might rise up over you, and you'll be stuck for a turn. And you can't, or like you can knock down like rocks that's blocking your path, and you might get like a random special item. Not only does this thing happen from you doing things, but after a certain number of turns, different things happen. Now let me explain what I mean by turns. When a battle starts, you always go first, and after your turn, then your enemy goes, and then that counts as 1 turn. So it's you, your enemy, that's 1 turn. And some things might happen after that. Like some balls might fall out of the sky. You can like push them in the direction of your enemy, and you can do some nice damage to them. In one of the stages, this randomizer activates, and it highlights like one of the Pokemon on the field at random, and whichever Pokemon gets picked, this like gift box comes up, and it basically just like swallows them, and they end up disappearing in like another area of the stage. And like one stage, after a certain number of turns, like lightning from this generator just attacks all the Pokemon that is surrounding it at random. like some bridge might form out of the middle of nowhere. So it's just a variety of things that happen on each stage. So they get an A for effort for the stage design, in my opinion. Now, when you first start a battle, this number will throat kind of dry doing all this talking. Not like some good water. Okay. Now, when you first step into a battle, this number will scroll across the screen, and that number is the amount of turns you have, either until the battle is over, or until you complete like whatever the objective is. So like you have to complete whatever the victory conditions are. And to me, this is where the game, well, falls short, because it's either going to be one of two things: either some type of captured or flag match, or it's going to be to like just defeat the enemy. But this game is in the beginning stages, so I guess, you know, they weren't trying to do anything too fancy, since this game is the introduction into a brand new idea. So for me, it's understandable. Now, after you defeat a team, you will be given, like, you will gain that castle and its resources as an allied castle. And sometimes you would be able to gain allies from that team you defeated, which is helpful because that's more Pokemon for you to use. Now, this is where I may start to lose some people. Now, I really want you people to listen to this part. You can have a maximum of 6 trainers on each team, and each castle can hold up to 6 trainers, occupying them, 6 trainers occupying each castle. And each trainer can hold 4 to 6 Pokemon, and you can change them in between your, in between your main team and allies in order to form a better team for an upcoming battle. And you might need to do that a bit, and you might need to do a bit of training in order to get your Pokemon stronger. And how you do that is you go into one of your allied castles, and there are going to be these mini maps on there, and sometimes it will be like 1 or 2, but you go to these places, and there's going to be like this like how I'm going to call it this like this preview screen, somewhat, of like wild Pokemon and or a like Pokemon with a trainer. And you can select how many team members you want to use for that battle. So you can just use like a select few or use your entire team. Now you're going to be able to tell which Pokemon are wild and which Pokemon have trainers, obviously, because like you just look at the screen. But let's say you weren't paying attention necessarily, and you just went into battle, like blindly, like you weren't paying attention, and you just like tap the A button twice or something. Why is my face so greasy? Damn. Oh, that's just a reflection off the camera, but whatever. And like which one are trainers and which one are wild Pokemon. And like the wild Pokemon will have like these badges over their head, and if you want to capture it, you can move next to that Pokemon, and this option is going to show up. This badge option is going to show up, and this mini game is going to start. And what's going to happen is that it's going to be this the small circle with an A button in the middle of it, and these balls of light are going towards that circle with the A button in the middle of it. And what you're going to have to do is try to time your presses, and this this meter at the bottom of it will fill up, and once it's filled up, then that trainer is going to catch that Pokemon. And you have to remember that the trainer that catches the Pokemon is the one that can use it. Like, you can't switch Pokemon in between trainers. You know, like, you can't, let's say, like, for example, if like this trainer catches this Pokemon, but you wanted this other one to get it instead, like, you can't switch or like give this Pokemon to like one of the other trainers on your team. It doesn't work like that. So you got to make sure that whichever trainer you want to get that Pokemon, you make sure that that's the trainer that does the like the little mini game. Now, like, you can use the mini game to your advantage, because let's say, for example, if this particular Pokemon it may be harder to catch than others, and you want to make sure that this trainer gets it on the first try. Well, what you can do is that, like, you can use one of the trainers to like just fill up the bar, like, just a little bit, or like up to a certain point, and then you can use the trainer that you want to catch it to like just finish filling up the bar, and that way that trainer catch that Pokemon with just like, you know, yeah. So, to my knowledge, each trainer has a certain amount of Pokemon they can carry. Of course, like I said, 6 to, like, you know, like just 4 to 6. So if you have a trainer, you allow it to catch a Pokemon, and their Pokemon slots just so happen to be full. Like, they don't go to some computer or some daycare. Like, you would have to either let that Pokemon go, or pick one of the Pokemon you already have to let go in order to, you know, like, just keep the one that you just caught. And there's no way, to my knowledge, to just release a, like one of the Pokemon that a trainer has. So you gotta make sure that when your slots are full, a trainer that you want to catch the Pokemon, it catches it, they catch it, and if this is a trainer that, you know, you have a Pokemon that you want to get rid of, and that's the trainer that gets it, and then you just let one of the Pokemon that you already have go, and you keep that one, and that's how you get rid of a Pokemon. I don't know a way to just release one in the game. Like, I don't know if they explained it or not. Again, that language barrier comes into play, so yeah. Now, the Pokemon in this game, they do evolve, but after each battle, instead of the Pokemon like gaining experience, like, what they do is they gain a percentage boost. And what happens with that, like, is that, like, the Pokemon do evolve after they gain a certain amount of percentage, but various ones evolve by doing various things. Like, but I don't know if it's based on the percentage of like what the Pokemon they have, or the amount of battles that they have to do, or what. I think some Pokemon evolve like based on their percentage, and I think other ones based on how many battles they have, and others are it's based on where you battle and what type of trainer you battle, or something like that. So Again, that language barrier, which is the reason why I'm not going to rate the game, but I'll explain that after I, get through with all this. And, yeah, uh, and then make sure I don't lose my place. Yeah, so you can also switch in between Pokemon, like, you can switch in between Pokemon, in between battles. And, like, you can't exchange Pokemon in between trainers, but you can switch Pokemon that a trainer uses in between battles. And how you do that is when you highlight an allied castle that has the trainer or that team in, and you just push A, and this menu is going to pop up on the side of that castle. And, like, you're going to have several options. It's going to be this arrow, like, pointing to the right, which is going to take you inside that castle, and you can go to shops, and you can, like, just train your Pokemon, like, on the maps that are available there. There's going to be this silhouette with an arrow, like, pointing to the upper right, and this allows you to move your trainers to an unoccupied allied castle. So let's say, for example, this castle may not have a shop, but this other one does, where you can take, like, a certain number of your trainers or your entire team, and you can move them to that castle, and then you can shop for whatever you need. What else? There's also this, like, this samurai helmet button. Now, what this does is this allows you to equip your Pokemon with certain like, items that may help them evolve, or like healing items that you can use in battles and things like that. And then next is the one that I'm talking about. It looks like a small piece of notebook paper. And this is what's going to allow you to switch Pokemon. Now, the game takes you to this screen, and then you highlight the trainer, push right on the D-pad, and then you just select which Pokemon you want to use. And then you just push B, and there you go. So, yeah, that's pretty much sums up the game. Now, there's another option, which I didn't use in the game because I didn't know what it was going to do. I didn't know if it was going to mess something up for me or not, and I wasn't trying to find out. So, yeah, I was a pussy for that button. That button scared me. But what it is it's this fan, which allows you to do some type of special move, I believe. Oh, and before I forget, in the battles, like I mentioned, like, the Pokemon can use like, special moves in the battles, and, like, these special moves range from everything. It could raise the attack, raise the attack, like, raise the like, the speed of your Pokemon, like, that way they can move like some more spaces around. It can raise up their defense, like, just a variety of things, heal, things such as that. So it's a traditional turn-based RPG, but with some twists. But like I said, this is a new idea, and this game does have some negatives. First off, you can't defend an allied castle even if a team is occupied in that castle. Now, let me explain what I mean. After every action you do, that character, that character's uh, picture will what's the word I'm looking for? Like turn dark, and this happens after every battle, after like trips to the shop and things like that. And what you would have to do in order to use that character again, or those characters that you did use, like in the shops or in the battle, what you would have to do is you would have to press X, and you would have to go over to the next day. Now, sometimes when this happens in an enemy castle that's adjacent from one of your allied castles, like the enemy will send like half of their team to try to occupy one of your castles. Now, when this happens, like they just come in, they run towards the castle, they get in there, and they just like beat up who's ever in there, if anybody at all, and then they just like take over that castle. Now, this is a bad thing because I don't understand why they didn't, figure this out. Like, why didn't they put something in there in order for you to, like try to at least have some type of a battle? That way you can try to defend your castle. It's understandable if you don't have anybody occupying that castle, but it's been times, and you can like just watch the playthrough where I had like some teammates occupying castles, and then the enemy that sends the team, they send like 3 people, in that castle, and they just just automatically win. And I don't understand why the game doesn't allow you to, like enter some battle sequence to at least try to protect yourself. I think that's kind of stupid, but then again, the game probably might have explained how to do that, but it's a language barrier there. And, yeah, it's just bad. And, and that was pretty much my only negative about the game. I mean, I'm not one of those, like one of those hardcore, like graphics critics. I mean, like the graphics are like slightly pixelated, but like I said, I'm not one to nitpick at the graphics. Like the graphics, it works for the game. I'm gonna just put it like that. The graphics work for the game. So, hey. So on to the positives. My first positive is that you can't change Pokemon in between, well, like during like battle. You can't switch out your Pokemon between like in battle. And this is why I believe this is a positive, because this is a strategy game and you have to think before you go into the battle. And they give you plenty of time to do that. And I believe that the battles will be more drawn out if you were allowed to do that. And with people, and with each trainer able to hold up to 6 Pokemon, well, like 4 to 6 Pokemon, like the battles would really, really be drawn out. And I'm really happy that like they didn't allow that element from Pokemon to, like get transferred over into this game. So that's a good thing. I like the stage design. Like the stage designs are good. Like I said, like the stage design gets an A+ from me. Even though the maps are small, I mean, it works for the game. Like they weren't trying to build like no big arenas or anything like that. They just wanted like some small maps with some activities and, things such as that. And I like it. It has, how can I put it? This party, like this Mario Party, or like some type of party game, like quality to it. And truth be told, it's pretty fun, and I liked it. And the replayability. You always have to reward a game on replayability. Now this is where the developers from what's the name of that company? Koei is Koei. So like that's what I'm gonna just call it. The Ko, you know, that's what I'm gonna call it. Ko, A. Anybody who's played a like Dynasty Warrior game or some type of like Musou series of game, then you know that this company has a habit of being able to tell the story of like the same battle from a different like perspective. Like for example, in a Dynasty Warriors game, like you can play as one character and you can have this battle, and once you beat that storyline, like you can play as another character and like you can be in that same battle, but you're viewing the battle from that character's perspective. And, you know, all their ambitions and all their wishes and, you know, their their goals and like while they're fighting, you know, and things like that. And this game is no different. After you beat the initial playthrough of the game, they allow you to play as one of the 8 castle lords in the game. And oh man, my throat getting dry again. Ugh. I don't really talk this much, so you gotta forgive me. But yeah, you get to play as one of the other 8 castle lords in the game, and you get to, you know, like just like replay the game from their perspective. And you know, I'm pretty sure after you beat the game again, like then you can play as another castle lord, and you know, you just keep on playing it like that. So it's interesting that they allowed you to do that, and you get to view the other castle lords, you know, like just their ambitions and their like viewpoints and their perspective on, you know, like why they're on their reasons behind them fighting and things such as that. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. And you always have to reward a game for replayability, and the replayability in this game is it will have you really playing this game for hours on end. So that's it. And you know, like there are going to be some new Pokemon that you're going to see that you probably didn't see at first through your initial like playthrough of the game and such. And you know, like new attack patterns and like new things such like that will be introduced each time you play the game. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And you know, that's basically it. So overall, what I think of the game. First off, let me say this. People, like when this game was first announced, I've seen people, they really set their expectations way too high. You know, like they just set it up like all the way up here to the sky, and they just figured that the game was just gonna, you know, be like that. You have to understand, this game is a new idea between 2 series of games that pretty much have nothing in common with each other. It was a new idea that Game Freak and the Co had decided to, you know, they decided to come together and they tried to make this thing work, because I'm not sure about the Koei side, but for the developers at Game Freak, you know, like they are some business-minded people, and they wanted to see what else they could do with the Pokemon series. And I think this is a good first attempt and A for effort. You know, you got people getting mad talking about, oh my god, like I can't believe they released this game. This game was crap. Oh my god, like they stopped Pokemon Black and White 2 for this shit. I mean, like really, you know, like they just overreacted so much, and the game wasn't even out yet. And let me tell you from my personal experience, this game is actually pretty good, and I like what they did with it. And, you know, you have to get it in your head that Game Freak saw Pokemon and, you know, like they developed on it up to a point, and now it's gotten to the point where it's just stale. You know, it's really become just a stale product with the same, like, repetitive, you know, type of gameplay, and nothing's new really being done with it. I mean, it's just the same old rehash with updates. You know, like they make some knockoff Team Rocket for you to go blasting off again. You know, they make like some new rival with some new anger problems or some new psychic abilities or some type of fucked up personality. You have some guy trying to take over the world for some fucked up reason. You know, it's basically just the same game with updates. You know, you're pretty much going to be doing the same thing. Like, you can find your running shoes, you're going to start running, you're going to find a bike, you're going to start biking. Once you're going to start biking around, and the moment you know, get a Pokemon to find fly, you're going to fly to all your locations. So they had the business sense to see that the game, even though it's a huge cult following behind Pokemon and that type of game, and you have people that will buy it, in order for their Pokemon franchise to, in order for it to be taken to new heights, they had to introduce it to some unfamiliar territory, you know, which is the turn-based strategy style of game, which is this game. And no, that doesn't mean that people are going to accept it right away, because, you know, fans of either series aren't going to be used to certain elements that are being introduced in this game. So at the very least, no, you might not like it, but at least try to see the potential that can be done with it. And I see a lot of potential that can be done with this game. And I really hope Game Freak, you know, just continues to develop on this game and really try to make something out of it. I mean, like I said, this is a new idea, and of course everything isn't going to be correct, and which I've stated out, which I pointed out, like the negatives, like the graphics were kind of pixelated and you can't defend, or like, you know, your castle, even when an enemy team comes to try to like reoccupy like one of your allied castles that you're taking over. But, you know, like, it's just little things that I believe in the future, like, if they continue to develop on this, you know, this style of game, then they will, you know, like, just work it out. And I honestly believe that right now that this game is good, but I feel like one day if they build on this game can actually be great. So, like I said, I'm not going to rate it, but I will tell you I do think this game is good. And the only reason why I'm not going to rate it is because of the language barrier. Because there may be some type of, you know, like, little things in there that I didn't get because the game was in a different language. They probably did explain, you know, like how to defend your castle, which, you know, like, from my experience in this game, like, I just had to feel my way around it because I didn't understand the game. And I was able to get through it, you know, like, I didn't do all the post-game content. I was just happy that I got through the initial playthrough of the game. So, you know, it was fun. And who knows, maybe when I'm not too busy, I'll go back and I'll try one of the, you know, like, one of the post-game deals, like one of the post-game content. Also, what I wanted to announce. Oh, I did tell you I had a special announcement. IGN had released a trailer for this game. So this game will be coming to the United States, but the title is going to be changed because, you know, like, the general gaming public doesn't know about the like the Nobunaga's Ambition game, even though you know, it was on the Sega Genesis and things like that, but they changed it to a more like a familiar name, and they're going to be calling it like Pokemon's Conquest. That's going to be the name of it, and it's coming in June and I don't remember the exact day it was going to come out, but I did read that it was going to be coming out in June. So this summer we're going to be going on a Pokemon Conquest, Star Spangled Banners, Star Spangled Banners and Spirit Fingers, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's a good game. If you're into Japanese imports, I mean, of course they announced that the game will be coming to the United States, so obviously, I mean, so I don't know if people are gonna, worry about Japanese imports now, because it will be coming in like 2 short months, pretty much. But yeah, that's it for this episode of the wrap-up review series. Forgive me for all of my choking. I'm not used to talking in front of a camera or even talking for this, long period of time. I haven't done one of these wrap-up reviews in a while, so don't hold it against me. Everybody's not perfect. I don't have good public speaking skills. I get nervous, stage fright, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, in time I'm going to get better. So until then, my name is Azariel. This is A-DSplay. You're watching the wrap-up review series, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. And now for my ending theme.